Hey guys, Tim here. I'm in my closet with all my gear. This is about the only room left that my wife left me in the entire house. I still have my closet for all my sporting goods stuff. Anyhow, I just wanted to share a story with you. It's a pretty good one. It's about my antelope archery hunt. And in the state of Oregon, if you want to do rifle hunt an antelope, you're looking at a wait right around 10 years. It's going to be a while. But if you do archery, you have a chance to do it once every other year, possibly, or at the worst, if your draw isn't very lucky, then you're looking at once every 3 years. But you're going to get a chance, and that's what's cool if you're willing to do archery. Anyhow, my story takes place because I I had this bow. It was a Hawk Shop PSE, and I took this thing and I was working out hardcore, hitting the weights, doing all these lat pulls, and I got so strong that I was breaking the limbs off bows. So what I did was I took this one into a metal shop I worked at and custom made for it, and I was able to jack the weight up to about 115 pounds. There was nothing safe about what I did. In those days, I tended to be more of a doer than a thinker. Anyhow, I would take this thing and put it on inside my delivery van whenever I worked on residential homes, and I would have this bow in the back of my truck. And whenever I was working inside the residential area and I saw a turkey pass by or a deer or something through the window of this unfinished house, and I was the only one up there, boom, I'd take a shot at him with the bow during legal season. So anyhow, I hit a turkey once and it just blew the feathers right off the chest. Poof! And any time it hit a deer, it just absolutely devastated whatever it hit. This thing was crazy. And in fact, some Hispanic guys that I worked with found that bow, and I caught them trying to shoot it in the yard, and none of them could pull the string back. And one of the guys says, he says, "Man, it takes huevos to shoot your arco, man." So then the name was there, Huevos Grande. So anyhow, what I ended up doing was we moved up here, and this is the bow I had. And in my backyard, I heard some guy chiseling, ching, 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 ching. So I asked him what he was doing. This guy made his own bow out of a piece of wood, and this is the guy behind me who used to live behind me. He made his own bow out of a piece of wood he found in the woods. He had cougar teeth that he used to hold the bowstring onto the bow, and it was all parts and things that he had gotten. This guy was in the magazine Primitive Hunter, and this guy was for real, and he was chiseling his own arrowheads out of flint. This guy was pretty amazing. He now manages and lives in Wilson and manages the whole thing. Awesome guy, awesome neighbor, too. Anyway, he was telling me about an archery hunt he told me about this archery hunt for antelope. So I'm like, well, yeah, I'd like to try that. It sounds difficult, but I'm going to try it. Where I was talking to another neighbor of mine, and his name is Greg. He's a pretty cool older guy, and he knew all about the Maori unit. This was an area that I had been hunting already. He knew the whole southern half of that unit, and I had hunted the northern half of the unit. So he got this idea, let's put our heads together, do the draw, do a party hunt, and do this thing together. So we did. We got out there, and this older guy puts on a ghillie suit and waits by a water hole out in the heat and directly into the sun with no cover. It didn't take me long to realize this isn't for me. This isn't going to work. So I said, "Hey, Greg, you know what? I'm going to go up to the northern half where it's treed, and I'm going to try it up there. I'm going to try my luck there. This just isn't my style, man." So we parted ways for a little bit. I went up north, and that's where I met Old Bruce. And Old Bruce is a watchman over a ranch up there called Cold Springs Ranch. He's a really cool older guy, probably the coolest older guy I have ever met. And he told me, "Well, no, I can't tell you anything. I can't help you. There's no hunting here, but you can hang out if you want." So I'm hanging out with him, and one of his ranch hands comes up there to the ranch house and says he had an elk down, but he couldn't get it himself. He couldn't get it into the truck. So I said, "Oh, I'll help you out, man. I'll help you." So I went down there with him, helped him get the elk up into the truck. And then we get back to the ranch house, and old Bruce says, "You know what? You helped us out. We're going to help you out. Put your blind right over there. You got about 3 hours before they show up. I'll tell you what, sit down, have some breakfast. We'll BS for a while, and then get your blind set up now, and then go down there in about 3 hours, and they come through like clockwork." So I did exactly as he said. He fed me eggs and taught me all about drinking coffee with no creamer, straight black. And that's how those cowboys do it, and I'll never forget my time there with them. So anyhow, I did that. He told me to go down to the blind. I go down to the blind. Here comes the antelope like clockwork. Zing! I zinged my antelope. Then here comes a deer. Zing! I zing a deer and fill both of my tags. So I shoot my antelope and I wait a while because I want my antelope to rest and bleed out there, so I'm not chasing him all over the desert. So he falls down, and as I'm waiting, about a half hour passes. I'm kind of watching him. He's bleeding slowly, and I hit him at about 70. I hit him at exactly 70 yards and dropped him from my blind. And then within a half hour, here comes a deer, a little fork buck, jumps the fence. So I put my deer down, and I had my deer and my antelope, and the ranch hand had not processed his elk yet. So I asked him for a favor because old Greg had said, "There's no animals up there. You're not going to get anything. You're not going to have any luck." So I got a picture with the antelope and the deer and the elk under me, and me standing over them with my bow to show old Greg. And anyway, it was rather fulfilling. So here's the story. Here's the whole video of what happened. I was so grateful to Bruce. I said, "Hey man, is there anything I can ever do for you?" He says, "I don't get to town much. All I want is a Papa Murphy's pizza, and I have trouble sleeping at night. I don't know. You can't help me with that." I said, "No, I can. Listen, I raised 2 kids in the most comfortable lazy boy recliner you have ever been in. And that's this chair I'm sitting in. I gave him the twin to it. And unfortunately, old Bruce, he passed away in that chair. But I'll never forget him. He was an awesome guy and a good friend." And you find out pretty quick that it's hard to get up on an antelope close to even. They can see you from 200 yards away. They have eyes comparable to an eagle. They run a speed. They're the second fastest land animal on Earth, moving 60 miles an hour, and they don't tire out. They are amazing. This is a primitive animal from the Ice Age, and they're just, you're in their territory when you go in there. This is an animal perfectly adapted to where it lives. So you have to figure out how to become a part of its environment. And my grandfather had always told me, if you want to find the weakness of whatever it is you're going up against, look at its strength, because its weakness is always tied up in its strength. Well, when you've got an animal with all these strengths, and it doesn't appear there's a weakness, the antelope does have a weakness. And I found it by accident one night. I had tried everything. They say flags work because they're curious. I tried the flag. Flag kind of worked. I tried mirrors. I tried decoys, calls, all these different things. They all just kind of worked. But I did stumble onto their weakness by accident, and I do know their weakness. So I'll tell you what. I'll tell you their weakness. Their weakness is... Oh, sorry about that. We had a little bit of static in there. Something happened. I'm not quite sure what. Tell you what, you subscribe and like and watch this video, and I'll tell you the secret at the end. about 150 yards out from my blind. And they're working their way a little closer to the blind, and I'm just kind of sitting here waiting. Can't see them. They're too far away, and I don't have a zoom for this thing. But there they are. I'm just waiting for them to come in. I'm out here all by myself, and I haven't had anything to eat in days. Well, except this. No comforts from home out here. That's for sure. It's savage, mate. And I'm out here in the great desert, and very rarely does it get any rain here. So this is a real privilege. I'm out here, right in the middle of the big wet.
Is it working?
Yeah.
A great white hunter traveled 40 miles over hill and dale to get his turkey. It was a tough hunt, but I survived. The turkey did not.
Alright guys, did you like that video? Alright, I'm going to tell you the antelope's weakness. When you're archery hunting, it's a whole different ball game. You don't just take an animal from a long distance. You've got to be part of their environment. And you've got to be one with that animal and outdo him in his own home. And I'm going to tell you how to do it. See, an antelope isn't like a deer. A deer can see, his night vision is excellent. The antelope's day vision is even more excellent. It is exceptional, but their night vision sucks. And so you've got a 20-minute window in the morning and one 20-minute window at night that's still legal for you to take an antelope while it's still legal and while they're just leaving their feeding grounds. And while they're leaving their feeding grounds and heading back into the trees, they head into the trees for a reason, because they can't see at night. And so that's it. You got 20 minutes from the time they start leaving those pasture grounds, and you've got to be out there and predict and know exactly which way they're going to go. And they change it up on you, so it's not going to be easy. But just remember, they're always wary around water holes, but they're not as wary around where they feed. So you got a chance. So just watch where they feed and then stay there, and just remember their night vision is pretty bad.